look here. Vaush says, "Oh boy," quote tweeting Noah Samsen, Breadtuber, who has made another video about Vaush. This is his second video about Vaush and the kind of toxic community in which Vaush has fostered in Noah's estimation. This one's called the Vaush Effect, and it goes into a little bit of the backlash that Noah got after making his initial video attacking Vaush, some of the backlash and what he describes as harassment that he received in the wake of that. So we're going to take a listen to at least some of this video and try to get to the bottom of whether or not these criticisms are valid, whether or not Noah has a good point here, or if he's just kind of whining because he got destroyed in a debate, which is also a possibility. So let's take a look here. This is an interesting video and an interesting subject matter specifically for Zac and I to address, because to be honest, a lot of the experiences that Noah details in this video, we've had similar experiences to as YouTube content creators ourselves. So again, we're going to be bringing an interesting perspective to this story.
Yeah, I just have to say, to set this up in true video essay bro fashion, he has to preface this by saying, this is not a drama video. Fuck all those streamers with their drama videos. Okay, we get it, bro. You're serious. You only put serious videos up on the internet, on YouTube. That's all I'm saying.
Microscope. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. How's it going? I hope you're doing well. Check out how green everything is. Check out how green all that stuff is. Check out how green everything is. Check out how green all that stuff is. So, a little while ago, I released a video called Solving the Debate Bro Problem. This video set out to criticize two left-leaning political live streamers, Vaush and Xanderhall, for behavior that I found problematic. I looked at a few different examples, so Vaush's interaction with the smaller video essayist Professor Flowers, Xanderhall's video that was critical of myself and some other lefty content creators, and various elements of their respective communities' behavior. After the video's release, Vaush and Xanderhall both reacted to it live on their streams in videos that have since been uploaded to YouTube. They had many criticisms. I went on to Vaush's stream to talk with him about some of those criticisms. Vaush also released another video on the subject titled Solving the Video Essayist Problem, which was critical of my video's argumentation or lack thereof. Some say that, not me though. I would never say that. I've linked all of those in the description if you're sort of a creep that wants to watch all that stuff. The video's reception was, well, divisive might be the right word. On the one hand, you had a lot of people who understood where I was coming from, who empathized with my frustrations about these spaces, or just were able to have a laugh at the way I went about highlighting them. Vine boom sound. Vine boom sound. Vine boom sound. Vine boom. On the other hand, though, a lot of people didn't like the video. This dislike ranged from, hey man, normally like your videos, but this one was a miss. This wasn't it, Chief. Mr. Chief, this was not it. Mr. Chief. Halo 7. Marriage, all the way to this is the worst video essay of all time that should be wiped clean from the internet along with your channel. The latter response was basically the takeaway from the streamers themselves.
I am not joking when I say to all of you with full sincerity that this is quite possibly the worst takedown I've seen.
It's really disappointing how much of the online left can be convinced by such stupid arguments if they're said by somebody with a nice mustache and some bisexual lighting and the lo-fi chill music in the background.
Vaush at one point even offered me a cash reward of double the video's ad revenue to take it down.
If Noah Samsen deletes the video and publicly retracts the information within, then he can screenshot the AdSense info within it, and I will give him money so that he doesn't lose a cent from deleting it. I'll double it.
So naturally, I took it down. I got the money, and then I put the video back up. I plan on doing that a few hundred more times. Vaush just keeps paying me. Unlimited money glitch. Motherload. Just kidding. That whole thing was a joke. I can't take money from the CIA. I still use TurboTax. It would be a mess. But okay, why are we here today, Noah? Why are we talking about your last video? Grow up. Move on. Well, I want to talk today.
All right, I want to admit it was slow. It was slow to get me to win this guy over, but when he really hits a run with his jokes, where I'm like, all right, I see. I'm shedding my begrudgment towards the video essay bro, voice narration NPR style, and now I'm like, all right, this guy's got jokes.
Actually, I was watching Vaush react to this video last night, and he also gave him credit for those jokes and was laughing at them. So Yeah, got to give credit where it's due. Noah does seem pretty funny, and overall, he seems like a well-intentioned, good faith actor, regardless of whether or not you agree with his criticisms. I think he's coming from a good place here. But yeah, let's watch some more of.
About what I experienced in the aftermath of making it. I want to do this because after I released the video, frankly, some weird stuff happened and some bad stuff happened. And I want to talk about that and connect the weird, bad stuff to the experiences of other people. I want to outline how this happens, what the backlash from debate streaming communities looks like, what's at stake for some of the people who experience it, and maybe what can be done about it eventually. Probably not today, but someday. So yeah, super vague, but I will get into it. Right after, we quickly take a moment of... I don't know. Okay, back to the video now. All right, so after all of the events that I went over, which was my video, the responses, the debate, and the other content, I started seeing one comment pop up in different places on the web. The comment says that basically in my conversation with Vaush, I walked back my entire video, admitted to it being full of lies and misinformation, and should therefore delete the video. I've received versions of this comment hundreds of times, maybe thousands at this point if we're counting tweets, from not only fans of these creators, but from the creators themselves. So is this what happened? Did I walk back my video in the debate? And at first, I wasn't sure. So I watched it back, only to discover that, no, this did not happen. In my conversation with Vaush, I conceded 3 points, and none of these points stand in the way of my video's main arguments. The driving issues behind my video, the reasons why I made it, were Vaush's treatment of Professor Flowers and Xanderhall's problematic language. The 3 points that I conceded in the debate had nothing to do with these. It has been a little while, so if your memory's a little hazy on it, I encourage you, go back and watch the debate. That is what happened. And yet, here we have countless people jumping into my comment sections to self-righteously proclaim something that is demonstrably false, and using this falsehood as a justification to force my hand into deleting a video. That seems a bit weird, right? Lest this come off as me saying that no, I did not get owned actually, as I slowly shrink into a corn cob. That's not true. I did get owned. Roughly 1 million people on the internet think I'm the worst video essayist of all time. And I'm fine with that. Honestly, I am. What I'm not a big fan of though is being bullied. And sometimes it's hard for me to tell when that's happening. And I have since realized that it did happen here. Now, here one might object, well, Noah, you went onto the debate stream and you were conciliatory. You didn't argue for your positions well, and you backtracked enough points that if people got the impression that you don't believe what you said in your video, can you really blame them? And initially, I actually agreed with this point. I was like, yeah, I guess this is just kind of what happens when you go on debate streams, especially if you go on unprepared and unseasoned in the art of debate, as I was and still am. I'm not coming back on, guys, so don't ask. I should have known better than to go on that stream. Ultimately, this might be my fault, or so I thought. When I actually took a step back, though, and thought about it, and then watched the debate a few more times, I realized that no, that's bullshit. People should not be allowed to lie about stuff just because I didn't go full debate lord in the debate realm. That should not be standard procedure. I entered that conversation attempting to seek understanding. I felt bad, frankly, after seeing how poorly my video was received.
Like, what the fuck is that?
And how if my goal was to put a stop to the bad behavior I tried to call out, then the video was a failure. I went on wanting to try to, I don't know, figure out what went wrong, I guess. And when this audience of people saw me do that, what they saw was weakness, and they took that weakness as a sign to go on the attack. And that's what they did. They took whatever they could to discredit me. And now because of this, they feel justified, vindicated even, in bullying me into silence. Cancel culture, the woke Twitter mob strikes again.
So let's just pause here and comment on what we've seen so far, because to be honest, I'm a little bit conflicted on this whole thesis, this whole project, this whole opinion. Because on one hand, yeah, it's undeniable that when people go up against a larger content creator, when they criticize a much larger content creator with a very intense and aggressive fan base, someone like Vaush, for example, or, on the other side of that coin, Jimmy Dore. Yeah, if you go up against that person and criticize them, and you're gonna get some nasty responses. That is how it is. That's something we have certainly experienced here at the Vanguard. And for sure, the first time it happened, it was tough. It was genuinely tough on our mental health, to be honest. It's like, damn, all these people flooding our videos with negative comments, telling us that we're pieces of shit, telling us that we don't deserve to have a YouTube channel, and that we're just trying to grift, and that we're sellouts, and that we're CIA, and all this stuff. Yeah, it hurts. It's not a fun experience, and no one that has any size of an audience wants to get backlash from said audience. It feels like everything's ending. You're like, oh fuck, I built this whole thing and now everyone's leaving. I shouldn't have opened my mouth in the first place. Maybe I am stupid. Maybe I am wrong. This is something that very much so happens. And it's not to say it's a good thing that it happens. It's not to say that it's like something that it should be celebrated necessarily. But I also think that it's kind of inevitable, and it's kind of what Noah's doing here is kind of a very long-winded way of just whining about the fact that he lost a debate and then people called him out for it. Because I mean, what do you think is going to happen, bro? Like you said, what do you think is going to happen when you go on Vaush's stream? You fail to properly articulate your disagreement with him. You allow him to win the debate, as he always, is happy to do. It's not like you're the first person he's destroyed in a debate. It's not like you're the first person that's, taking the L when debating Vaush. So it kind of seems like, oh, now that you've experienced this, you have to put out this 30-minute long video preaching about how toxic debate bro culture is and how toxic Vaush and other YouTubers like him are. But again, not everyone has the thick skin that I have. And just because I got over the backlash, just because I got over the hate from our audience, doesn't mean that everyone will. I understand that a lot of people genuinely would want to stop doing YouTube if they received that sort of backlash. They might genuinely want to, just abandon it all and say this isn't worth it. So I don't want to come off as insensitive, and I don't want to come off as if I'm downplaying bullying and harassment, which is definitely a real issue. But then part of me also thinks if you can't stand the heat, you got to get out of the kitchen.
Yeah, dude, that's honestly where my entire reaction goes on this. So like, okay, yeah, there is pushback from being on the internet. Yes, it sucks when you fucking get your ass handed to you, but people get their ass handed to them at all sorts of jobs, and most of them aren't as cushy as being a YouTuber where you get a Google AdSense check at the end of the month, and even though it's paltry and fucking nowhere near what it's worth, if and obviously if you're a streamer you get like other things, but that guy does video essays, so I imagine he mostly relies on the ad revenue from his videos. So that's a cushy job comparatively, right? You don't have a boss that's breathing down your neck. You don't get chewed out for missing paperwork or not filing it correctly, or being 15 minutes late to work because your kid had some shit go on or whatever, right? You don't ever get reamed for that. You get to read things that are not super nice to you in the comment section and try and gather it for feedback. Like, yeah, it's kind of tough to bitch about that, right? And that's what makes it hard when you like actually are all in your feelings about it as a content creator. Like, of course it fucking is real when you're a content creator. We're all living in our own bodies and, have our own understanding of the reality of the world. And when you're making content like this and you get an ocean of hate, of course you're insecure. You hate yourself. You want to fucking die inside. Sometimes I didn't leave bed for a couple days because I would be so fucked up and like worried that our channel was going to die and that I'd fucked it up and that like, it was going to like result in all these different things. All those fears are real. But those are just the anxieties of work in this capacity, right? And if you were a doctor, you would have all kinds of stressors from your career that resulted in life and fucking death, right? Or so maybe this isn't not everybody's meant to be a doctor, not everybody's meant to be a live streamer, but it would seem like a massive case of the pot calling the kettle black for somebody who literally does a daily show where I critique other live streamers, for me to be all pissed off and when another live streamer comes out after me. Like, no, like you have to understand, like, even if on the surface level you're like, fuck that person, they're completely wrong, whatever, you also have to accept the fact that they have the right to do this. They have the right to attack your fucking reporting.
Yeah, we're done watching the video. I think you guys got the point. Check out the full video if you want to, see him continue to make the same point for another 20 minutes. I don't think that's necessary. The only other thing I wanted to say on the subject matter is that, regardless of our feelings on it and regardless of our criticisms of Noah, I will say that I've noticed Breadtube as a community kind of turning against Vaush a little bit in recent months. He's been embroiled in so many dramas, so many cancellations, so to speak, back to back. And it does seem like it's taking a bit of a toll on his channel and his presence on YouTube. As you can see here, he has 396,000 subscribers, which is very impressive, especially compared to our channel. But this has actually dropped over 4,000, almost 5,000 subscribers since just a month ago. So this dude is bleeding subscribers at this point. Again, regardless of how I feel about Noah's criticisms and regardless of how I felt about the whole J.K. Rowling drama, it seems like he's genuinely pissed off a pretty fat section of his audience. But yeah, if you see here, his videos obviously still do far better than ours. But this video that Noah Samsen released called the Vaush Effect just yesterday or the day before, it already has 150,000 views. I can't speak today. That's more views than Vaush has received in any of his recent videos going back a couple weeks now, besides this one about Ben Shapiro. So again, it is what it is, but it looks like, some of Breadtube is low-key turning on Vaush. He's bleeding subscribers. His views are not up like they normally are. It seems like this criticism has taken a toll on Vaush and his channel, again, regardless of our opinion of its legitimacy.
Yeah, to Vaush's credit, I know he was riding like a unique high with all the Ukraine shut that was going on. So maybe it was just like the divot and, people who plugged it or stopped paying attention to that slightly. But yeah, I mean, clearly, not doing great after what all started with really the J.K. Rowling's controversy and has continued to just kind of continue to roll.
Yeah. And it seems like from Twitter as well, from what I've seen, it does seem like there's an emerging consensus that Vaush is, kind of toxic. Even people like Lance from the Surfs has been calling him out more so than usual. So again, this is all just to, report on the facts and give you guys an accurate picture of what's happening to this, very large channel, one of the most prominent Breadtubers out there, of course, that being Vaush. And the fact that it does seem like, some of this criticism is actually sticking this time, as opposed to other instances in the past where it's kind of just slid off him like water off a duck's back. He is taking a bit of a beating for the recent drama. So that's worth, noting.